So good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. Third time's a charm, hopefully.
So for anybody who's we're going to post this. This is a pre-recorded video and we're going to post it on the Dig for Success group. We tried the Be Live platform this morning, which I always use, but sometimes just things don't, there's problems with the network or problems with the platform. It didn't work. So I really wanted to bring it all to you guys this morning. So we figured out Zoom. So if anybody wants to know how to work Zoom, they can message me later because I've just figured it out there in literally 10 minutes. So Sarah is joining us this morning from Galway, and I met Sarah for the first time on Monday at Dig for Success. And Sarah, you work with Bellamianta, and that's what you were talking about on Monday. But can you tell everyone that wasn't at Dig for Success just exactly how you guys work together?
Yeah, perfect. So myself and my husband have worked in the advertising industry for probably the last 10 years. And we set up our own advertising agency in Galway just at the start of this year. We wanted to move home. Galway's home and it's good to be home. We were in Australia for many years. So we began working with Bellamianta quite early on when we started up. Amanda is their amazing business development manager, and we worked together in a previous life. So I think Bellamianta were probably at the point where, it was becoming interesting to go to an outside agency. And yeah, the relationship has been working really great so far. So we're their digital advertising agency essentially. So that can mean different things to different clients. But for them, we run all of their social content. And by run, I sort of mean we strategize what the content is going to be and why. We create the content, we plan it all in, get it scheduled, and then we do reporting off the back of that. So that's sort of a big part of where going to an outside agency can come in, is that you're getting all that wealth of knowledge from the various clients we've worked on over the years, and that we can apply that to the client. And yeah, we're quite data driven here at Little and Large. So for us, it's really all about doing something, planning it correctly, and then seeing what the results are and learning from that. So it's all well and good seeding out lots of content, but if you're not learning what's working and what isn't, then it's not the best use of your time.
Okay, so for everyone, just so I can tell you, for everyone that's on the Dig for Success group, we're possibly, I would say, 70-80% of us not on the scale of Bellamianta and can't afford to hire a digital agency in to help us. So that's why I started Dig for Success, Sarah, because I was so passionate about us being able to teach ourselves and learn ourselves how to do it. Probably not as well as you, but as well as we can for what we have, the budget that we have. So when you were there on Monday, you talked all about Instagram, and that's what I told the people at Dig for Success we're going to talk about today. So I'd written a few notes down, and I know is Instagram mainly your thing, or was that just what you talked about on Monday, and you use them all in the exact same way, or what can you tell us?
So I think it depends on the client, the nature of what that client does. So whether it's, product or service based or whatever it might be. So we probably, for the purpose of the presentation we did on Monday, we would have more so focused on Instagram, because for who Bellamianta are, it's quite a visual thing. That's, a lot of our active audience of users are there. That's where they tag us in for the most part and things like that. So from an engagement with our audience perspective, it's Instagram, but then Facebook, it sort of came up on Monday. There was a question, is Facebook dying? It's not. If you use it in the right way, it's a huge sales driver. But that's sort of where I suppose our knowledge and expertise comes in then as well, because we talked a lot about organic reach going down. So for us, where Facebook really comes into play is from a paid media perspective. So not every company or brand, depending on their size, is going to be able to engage in paid advertising, or at least not, on a completely regular basis. But if you can set some strong business objectives behind it, then you can put merit into putting a little bit of spend behind it. So Facebook for us is more of a sales driver, and then Instagram is sort of the visual platform where we, engage and collaborate with our customers.
Okay. Are you seeing where it says the internet connection is unstable? Did you see that, Sarah? Yeah, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay, sorry. So we just got an internet wobble there. I hope this stays with us. So, right, okay. So Instagram for engagement and Facebook for driving sales, possibly through Facebook ads is what I'm hearing you saying. So you talked about Planoly. Now, I've heard a lot of talking about this. I've downloaded it, looked at it, haven't actually started to use it in a strategic way yet. But can you tell us, and for everybody on Dig for Success, what is Planoly, and why do you think it's good for people like us for scheduling and things, and what else have I written there? How does it actually work? If you can just tell us basically so we get an idea.
So Planoly is it's basically for scheduling your Instagram content. So that's particularly if it's a small business owner running it themselves, they're not going to have the time to give the love to social media maybe as much as they want. I think you touched on it yourself on Monday that it's always on, you're doing it at night or, instead of your TV or whatever it might be. But I think business owners can alleviate some of that by pre-scheduling their content. The other benefit to pre-scheduling your content is that you can actually look at what a week looks like or what 2 weeks looks like and see that you're covering a variety of bases. So Neve referred to a 5-3-2 rule. It's going to depend on your business mix, what split of content you do. But I think a brand can sit down and go, okay, we want to have, 30% of our content is going to be sharing posts that our customers have tagged us in. 20% of it is going to be specifically about the product. And some of it is just pure engagement, maybe competitions, things like that. So you have to have a kind of a strong mix, because if it's all one thing, you're not going to get the most out of it, So any sort of a planning or scheduling tool allows you to look ahead and go, okay, we've got a nice mix here. We're not just shoving 6 sales messages in a row for, in our customers' faces. You want them to not get sick of your content, and to really kind of try and add value to them while still slipping in your brand and sales messages. Yeah. So I think I can actually share my screen here. So if you give me a second, I'm just going to see if I can bring Planoly up to show you how to use it.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know we could do this. Okay. Right. Let's try that. So for anybody that's listening while Sarah's trying to do that, I'm wondering, I'm going to ask her, oh, wow. Okay. Oh, brilliant.
Can you see that?
Okay. Yes, I can see that. Yes.
Lovely. Okay. So this is the desktop experience. So I'm using Bellamianta's Planoly here. I'm sure Linda won't mind, just as an example. So this kind of gives you an idea. All of this content that you see here, and I hope you can see everything I'm scrolling through. Yes. There.
Yes, yes.
So everything you see on the left here, that's actually already content that has gone out. And you can see easily at a glance what type of content it was. It shows you the results, how many comments you got, how many likes. So that even allows you at a glance to kind of go, now we use a mix of paid advertising here. So, there's other metrics that we would look at here. But if you're running purely organic content, it means you can look and go, okay, do you know what? I'm seeing a pattern here. The ones where someone's face is up full on screen, for instance, people seem to engage more in that, or you can start to even make sort of a little assessments. So basically what you do is you go add new media. You can take it from a variety of places. So one of the things that's quite handy is you can put in something called a placeholder. So I'm just going to put in here dig for success. So it has a word count on it, so you can only put a certain amount in. So I'm going to scroll up here and I can see that I've popped in dig for success there. So it might be that there's a piece of content coming, there's an event that you're going to be at in a couple of days' time, and you want to remind yourself, okay, I want that to appear here on the feed.
Okay.
So it's literally just drag and drop, and you can start to kind of curate how you want the feed to look. Now, I will add that these images that you're seeing at the moment, they're not curated, but it allows you just to shuffle what you want.
So can I just ask if you're working, if you have created this, but something pops up in your day that you then want to share, it's easy to just push something else aside and slot something in. Is that the way it works?
Yeah, so this is connected to the Instagram feed. So you don't have to use Planoly if you don't want to. It will automatically pull in any content that you shared directly from within the Instagram app, and it will place it in that correct order of where it would have appeared naturally in the Instagram feed.
Okay, and another question, is this an app that prompts you to push it to Instagram, or does it just direct it straight to Instagram itself?
So you get to pre-plan it. So I'll get to that just a second. I'm going to show you. You can also add new media. So that's where you would go and add your image that you might have had from, whatever new image you want to add in. And that will also add that image into this planned feed over here on the left. If I could get it to close down for me, that would be lovely. I'm just going to pop a placeholder in there to get that off screen. So then once you've got all your content in, you kind of shuffle it around. That's when you're then going to click in on the one you want to schedule. So it comes up first. It just has your generic text there. So what you do is, Chloe Lloyd, who is our fabulous Bellamianta brand ambassador, looking amazing on blah, 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 right? So you put in your copy.
Just to stop you there, when you wrote at Chloe Lloyd, it didn't actually come up. Do you have to know that person's exact username when you're using Planoly then?
Yes, yeah. There are some other ones that will prompt you, but for this one, you'll need to know the username yourself.
Okay.
So it's just something to note. Then you go in and you decide when you want to go and schedule that. So you can pick time of day and your date. This little button over here says auto post. So that's where you're going to pre-schedule it. So basically if I hit save there, this post is going to go live on our Instagram feed on the 29th of June at 3 p.m.
Okay.
And it will also, all of your pre-scheduled content will shuffle into the order that you've planned it into. So as soon as you put a date in, it slots it into the feed in the correct order, so you can see how it's all going to seed out on your feed.
Okay. So if you hit auto post, what would that do?
Auto post means that will, without asking you, it will post it at the time and date that you've stipulated here in the scheduling area.
Yes, but if you don't hit auto post, what happens?
So if you don't hit auto post, it will go in on that date. So I'm just going to show you here. I'm going to hit save.
Uh-huh.
So you'll see here on the 29th of June at 3 p.m., that post is now in there.
Yes.
So there's a little S over here on the image. So you know that you've already scheduled that. So the U here means it's unscheduled and the S means it's scheduled.
Okay.
So then what will happen is when you, so there's a mobile app for Planoly, and you're going to get a notification at 3 p.m. on the 29th of June saying, you've got your scheduled post is due to go live. Do you want to post it?
Okay.
So if you don't hit auto schedule, you'll just get a notification, and then it's just one button to share it to your feed.
Okay.
So that just allows you to see as well, what your results were, what the engagement was, the different times that you've posted. And there's also an analytics tab, which let you see what the most popular content was and that kind of thing.
Okay. So if you were going to post, sorry, I think you may have already covered this. If I was just going on Instagram, I don't have to go through the Planoly to post just on a live basis, as in if something was happening there and then I can just post it, but it'll still integrate with the Planoly platform, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can just use Instagram as an app the whole time. And when you go into Planoly, you've got them connected, so it's automatically going to pull in any content you've posted organically through the Instagram app, and vice versa happens. Anything you pop into Planoly that's pre-scheduled, once it's gone live, it'll be on your Instagram feed.
Okay, and then what about when you have your Instagram account set to feed to Facebook? Will that still happen when Planoly pushes it to Instagram, if you know what I mean?
That's a good question. The answer is I don't know. We would tend to schedule separately.
Oh,
Um, just because, say, we wouldn't use hashtags on Facebook, we use the hashtags on Instagram. So we would schedule things across the different channels in a different way. But I would imagine, yes.
okay.
Um, I wouldn't see why it wouldn't. I can do a test later on just to see, so I can give you an answer in the comments later when you share this. But
I'm sure it does. If Instagram has sucked it up and you've that set, and I'm sure it does send it over. I just wanted to make sure.
exactly. Um, and the thing that's nice about Planoli as well is it's got a really nice mobile interface. So it's quite easy to use. It's basically what you saw on the left-hand side there with all of the imagery. That's all you see full screen. So it's effectively, you see it like you see an Instagram feed.
Yeah, yes. So just tell you my story. So I sell communion wear and confirmation wear for kids, and I just been inundated with photographs of all the kids all dressed and all, and my head's wrecked, to be honest, because I'm like, oh my god, I have all these photos of all these photos. I obviously Planoly, it sounds like a perfect thing for me to schedule those over the next coming months. Have you any tips for people who are trying to navigate this? Do you think you should sit down like for a full day and prepare it all for a month, or sit down for half a day and do it for a week? How far ahead should you really do this?
Yeah, it's a good question, and once again, it depends on the nature of your business. Say for you and for Bellamianta, they're constantly getting tags and tagged in things. You want to be keeping fresh content up there. You might choose something, a great image you got tagged in yesterday. You absolutely have to get it up on feed today. Um, if you have a business where it's not that kind of nature, you can plan further ahead. But I would say if yeah, like you said, take a morning, plan the next week. You can try and plan the following weeks after that and start slotting in content, but that's going to naturally change as time goes on. So if you start scheduling, the only advice I would say is, if you start scheduling the dates and times too far in advance, you're going to have to go in and undo them, because stuff's going to come in that you're going to want to put in instead, and then that sort of might mess up the flow of what you've got in the feed or whatever it is. So yeah, there's a balance. So I would kind of say a week to 2 weeks ahead maximum.
Okay, that's good. That's a good starter, because I was thinking, God, I should have to do this for a month, and then I was thinking, like, I don't know what's going to really be coming up over the month, and is this still going to be relevant? So that's good to know. Maybe just work it week on week and plan it out.
Yeah, because you can put as much content as you want in there, but you don't have to schedule it.
Yes. Okay.
So every time someone tags you in a great image, you might screenshot it, put it into Planoli. One of the nice things as well is it lets you crop the image within the app.
Oh, good. So you can cut out
So,
the likes and all that there.
yeah, exactly. So you can just keep putting things in there, and then as you go in to do a week's worth of scheduling, you can go, okay, that's the nicest of the communion images or whatever it might be. Let's drag that in here.
And
And
then
you can
can
be a
I
little bit.
ask you, if someone tagged you and then you screenshotted that, well, I suppose you'll have their username there. It's trying to remember all the usernames that tagged you. Is that how you do it? Because you've screenshotted it and then their username is attached, and then you take a note of it and crop it?
Yep. So the handiest way to do that is take the screenshot where you can see the username, and then when you hit upload into Planoli, before you crop it, take note of what the username is, and then it'll prompt you to put in copy if you want to. Where when I brought it up there, it had generic copy saying shared from Planoli, and that's where you go and type in your copy. So if you just type in the username of the person there, you don't have to go and write your copy, but it means the username's already typed in there for when you do decide to go and put your copy in.
Oh, perfect. Okay, because that was racking my head thinking, how am I going to remember everybody's username? So that's a good tip. So also then content for Instagram, moving aside from Planoly, that's a good tool for everybody to know about scheduling, and you just really have to educate yourself and learn how to use it, I suppose, Sarah. But content for Instagram, like you talked on Monday about how really most of your picture contents of like the product images are really created just by yourselves. Can you talk about that, like how easy or not easy that is?
Yeah. So I suppose it depends for the likes of myself or my husband. We work in a very visual industry. We've worked with a lot of photographers where we do that a lot ourselves. So for us, it comes naturally and it's easy. It's not going to be for everybody. But what I would say is you know, there are some really basic rules to any photography that you're using on your feed, and it's kind of use natural lighting. Don't be shooting things in the dark. Consider, you know, your framing. So flat laser is sort of a lot of what we would do. So it's using props and styling and things like that. So
and can I jump in there? Just flat lays rack my head, as in, do you, like, this sounds so stupid for me to ask this question, but do you have a tripod that extends over it that holds your phone like this, or are you doing like this over the flat lay?
It probably depends. So we would have a lot of professional equipment here at the agency that would allow us to do various things. But if you have a steady hand, I'm sure that people can have a go and use their hand over it, you know. Okay. If you take 10 shots, one of them might come out good, you know. Sometimes it's trial and error if it's not something you're used to or familiar with. Okay. We do it a lot, and I've been doing it for a long time, so it comes second nature. And we do have equipment that will allow us to prop things up overhead. We have lighting and backdrops and green screens, and, you know, obviously being an agency, we have a lot of equipment and things like that, but you don't have to get the basics right.
Okay, cool. So all those ones we see with the Bellamianta bottles and like the sunglasses and that's just, you've created that yourself?
Yeah, that's just something we would have done in our we have a photography studio area in the office where we would do that. And so it's, you know, obviously you use a variety of props, and we don't use the same vase in the background of every photograph because that's just going to get boring. Yeah. But yeah, to try and keep it authentic and not too contrived, you're not going to put 10 different branded items in the same thing. And for people trying to do it themselves, you know, the likes of Pinterest, if you go and look at what other people are doing, that might be helpful in trying to learn sort of best practice. But yeah, I think the basics are try and shoot it in natural light. Not everybody's going to have a lighting kit where we can control lighting like we would. But yeah, just consider how to get the best out of it. Watch where your shadows are. If there's reflections coming in from the window onto your product, move it, or, you know, close the curtains. You really, I think, with content, particularly on Instagram, it's such a visual environment. People aren't there to have, you know, awful brand messages that don't look good enough shoved in their face. If you make something that naturally feels like the rest of the content they see, and it's up to that kind of quality, they will engage with it. So yeah, it's just trying to make the best that you can out of it. Consider everything that's in your photograph. You know, don't have your thumb over the camera. Natural lighting is going to be your best friend when it comes to photography like that. If you're shooting stuff in your house, find somewhere with a Velux window above it or something like that. But people often try and use filters and all of the different add-ons you can do after a photograph is taken to try and make them look better. But in actual fact, it just sort of makes them look a little bit more amateur. The 95% of the product imagery that we would have on our site, there's no post-editing at all. It's just a well-lit, well set up shot. So generally we would only go and crop. There's no adding of filters or anything like that.
Yeah, because I have to say I'm a wee bit guilty of putting a picture up and then swiping or using the wee filters. So I'm going to try. You've inspired me to try and just use proper lighting. I don't want to keep you all day because I've messed you about all morning. Like, we've been trying to do this.
Time, it's okay.
10:30. But what is your advice to people about Instagram? Like, loads of people say to me, oh, Instagram doesn't work for me, but then I might check their feed and they haven't showed up in a week or whatever. What is your, like, guidelines in your opinion? I'm not saying that's what Instagram says, but what do you feel is the best way for people to show up on Instagram? Is it every day? Is it twice a day? What do you recommend?
I keep saying this and it sounds awful, but it depends on the client and the nature of it and things like that. Say for us, we're, you know, as an agency, our Instagram feed, we spend our time doing other people's Instagram feeds. So we just put up, you know, occasional content, and it's not something that it's not going to help drive our business to keep putting up pictures of different areas of our office or whatever it might be. Putting up client work Instagram is not really the place for it, you know, so it's not going to suit every business. If you're a product-based business and you've got something to sell, that's probably going to be a big driver for you, because you can demonstrate range, you can demonstrate usage. But I think people need to really think about whether each channel, so, you know, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, whether it's appropriate for their business. So, you know, we worked with tech companies, and they go, oh yeah, will we go on Instagram? And we're like, well, do you have a story to tell on Instagram? You know, you need to be appropriate to the channel. So if you say, look through the Bellamianta Instagram, there's not big price points. There isn't loads of writing on things. Everything is kept quite clean and visual, because that's what the rest of the organic content in people's feeds is like. And you don't want this kind of glaring,
like,
you know,
selling, like you mean like a selling type persona that you create if you go on and do that.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, you can certainly use some text and things like that, but it's about it's such a visual channel that you kind of need to curate your content and keep that looking consistent with how Instagram is. It's a visual channel. I don't know if I'm explaining that terribly well, but
well, I suppose if there's people on Dig for Success, like I'm a retailer, there's going to be lots of hairdressers, beauticians, like you said, product-based businesses. We should, I believe, but I'm not a digital marketer like you, be there every day with at least one post to capture your audience. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. That's we post at least once a day on the Bellamianta channels. But one of the things we mentioned actually in the presentation on Monday is that we were looking at this year's results versus last year's results, and over a 2-month period this year, we've posted half as much or half as frequently as we did in the same period last year. But we got 3 times as many clicks to site and 3 times as many engagements. So
why is that?
I would say it's probably quality over quantity.
Okay.
So when you're when a business is posting to Facebook or to any of the channels, and we touched a little bit on this on Monday, don't post for the sake of posting. Don't create content for content's sake. Sometimes you have to be a little bit harsh on yourself and sit back and go, okay, I might want to talk about this, or I might find this interesting, but who's going to care?
Yes.
You know, if you start putting up stuff that your audience are not interested in, they're not going to look the next time you have something that they might be interested in. So, you know, probably a good example is kind of internal messaging. So, you know, if someone internally won an award for being the best finance person, that's great. And it's a huge success internally, but will your audience really care that the person who controls your finances won an award for that? No, it's not really relevant to them. It doesn't add to their perception of the brand. Okay. In the same vein though, if your retail assistant won best retail assistant in the county, then yeah, that's something your audience might be interested in, because they meet and engage with that person. It improves their perception. They want to go in, they want to see this person and meet that person. So it's really just about thinking about, will my audience actually engage in this, and will they care? Because yeah, some businesses can just get too bogged down with what they would like to tell people.
They're trying to find something to post about, and they're sort of scrabbling for content, really.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, you'll sometimes see, particularly on say Instagram stories or Snapchat, or you know, business owners putting up nights out, or you know, stuff say when they're off with their kids doing things, and there's definitely a space for that, but it's maybe about trying to be more relevant. So say for you, if you're putting up, oh, I was at the beach with the kids today, mention that your little boy was wearing you know, particular brand from, and then it's just always try and think how you can bring it back to the brand without forcing it. Yes. And being, you know, inauthentic. So
yes,
every single post you do, there should be a reason why you're doing it, and there should be a desired outcome. Okay. You know, whether it's driving sales, whether it's driving brand perception, and it doesn't mean that everything needs to, you know, have a product tagged in it, but it's just remember why you're telling them that.
Yes. Okay, that's really good advice. I could talk to you all flipping day. I swear to God. And there's going to be so many people messaging me now. Why do you not ask her this? Why do you not ask her that? And because we're not live, I can't see any questions coming up. But
Yeah.
that was the things that I had written down. There's loads more, but maybe we'll meet again at a Dig for Success event and you can share your knowledge all over again. Maybe we'll come to Galway. You could have us down there and we could collaborate in a big event and go
Yeah.
out time after.
Well, we're right in the thick of things here. So if you know Key Street in Galway, that's where our office is. So
Oh my goodness,
we're
right.
yeah, but yeah, look, because we're not live, I'll check in later on tonight, and if there are some questions in the comments, I'm more than happy to answer.
Okay.
And we do, like we said it on Monday as well, not every business is at the point where they need a digital advertising agency or where they can afford that. But we do short consultancy sessions with smaller business owners. So, you know, if people do want to chat more, we're here. And don't
just because you're far away in Galway, like this actual episode or this situation we're in now shows how easy it is to do something like this and bring up a screen and look at things. And actually, we don't need to be in Galway anymore. Like Bellamianta, we're based in Dungannon, but you're their main person for digital advertising. So that opens up so many doors for people up here if they wanted to reach out to somebody like you, Sarah. So you never know when you know there might be someone listening that says, God, I need Sarah, and that's how it works. So
look, it's we're, you know, we don't mind getting a question. If there's a question here or there that people have, send it on, and if we can help, we will. So.
Okay, good woman, and thanks a million, and I hope I haven't messed up too much of your day, and thank you to Bellamianta for introducing us to you, and you know, hopefully we'll get to meet again soon, and yeah, have a nice weekend.
Yeah, and congratulations again on Monday. It was a really fantastic event. I loved it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, Sarah, see you later. Bye.
Bye.